Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko, glad to be back with you and the boys. Good to see you guys again. Tariq, how you doing?
Pretty good. Who are you again?
Very good.
I haven't seen you in a
You've been
time.
working on that,
just a little bit. Just working on it. But glad to have you back.
Hey, Pat Duffy, how you doing?
Oh, great. Good to be back
Go ahead,
stateside.
give me the who are you?
Well, what do you? Who am I? Well, the Sabres get their first win of the season this week, and won by Dylan Cousins in overtime, the workhorse from Whitehorse, Dylan Cousins.
Hey, does it get any better than untimed down? With
no.
the game on the line? Oh, my God.
No. And once again, thank you for the tickets. I have to say, being in that stadium, I don't know what you felt like watching it at home, but the nervousness for the 3.5 quarters of that entire game, I couldn't ask for anything better. We were, as a Giants fan, watching that game, basically waiting for this offensive explosion that never came until the last until the last basic 7 minutes of the game. And then I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, we could win this game. Of course, we lost it. We could win this game. Oh my God. This is so it was the greatest experience, the closest you could get. I would have loved to have Saquon run it in. Didn't happen, but hey, whatever. Holding play, if it's in New York, they get that play.
No,
if
not,
it's in
not
Buffalo,
back to back, not back to back. You're getting one flag.
If you're
First
in
of all,
MetLife Stadium, you get that play.
you're
You know
getting
that.
one
Duffy.
flag. First of all, that first
Both
flag,
flags.
that first flag should not have been thrown. And I'll give it to Waller, man. He fought through what was a legitimate football play to make it look like that ball was catchable. Credit to him. That's an NFL veteran move. I'll give you the flag for the work on that one. He didn't work on the second one. You're not getting both flags. And
He couldn't because the guy had one of his arms.
Oh, I forgot. Did they legalize taking your hand and sticking it directly into the face of a defensive player when he's trying to make a play? Because I didn't see when they changed that rule.
I know you can't catch a football unless you have your arms.
All of these Giants fans want to be upset about grabbing of a jersey when apparently illegal hands to the face before the grab is not a penalty anymore.
So being the Giants guy, are you surprised he didn't run it? Look, only because now look, I go back to the first half and when Tyrod checked off the play and got himself into all that trouble and they stuffed Saquon, they thought at that point that was the play to run.
Yes.
You got one play for the game from the 1 yard line.
I don't think you feel like that twice. I think you run Saquon again at that time. You know exactly what to do. You know exactly the ball. It was prime for him. He had a great second half in that game. I think he would have been the hero had they run the ball in. I am upset with the call, but I would have said, there's no way you're stopping Saquon Barkley a second time.
I'm totally on board with him. You don't get that call twice.
No,
I think don't get pass
in
interference
MetLife
twice.
Stadium.
And to that point, look at it this way. Let's compare it for Bills fans watching right now. It would be like taking Josh Allen from the 1 yard line and having him turn around and hand the ball off to Reggie Gilliam to try and win the game. Saquon Barkley is your bell cow. I know he's got the high ankle sprain, but like you said, he ripped off back-to-back 30-yard runs just a couple of minutes earlier. You have a backup quarterback who is known for not putting the ball. He's safe. He's not going to take risks, right? That's not a risky throw that he made. You give it to... Why did you pay Saquon Barkley if you weren't willing to hand it to Saquon Barkley from the 1? And if you get stuff from the 1 twice in the same spot, you don't deserve to win the game anyway.
I'm trying to think, and you're more the Bills historian. Was this like the greatest ending of a Buffalo Bills game ever? I mean, just in terms of drama?
I don't know, man.
And maybe the Norwood kick.
There's been a lot.
The Norwood kick in the Super Bowl.
Well, no, I mean, but you look at like the last plays of games, there's been a ton of them that we've been on the wrong side of, and I would agree with you, the drama and the celebration would be great if the Bills weren't 15.5-point favorites walking into that game.
But here's the one thing I'll take away from this, and I wish you were sort of there in the moment of it happening. As a Giants fan, I'm sitting there like, I can't believe we're in this game. I can't believe Bass missed 2 field goals. I can't believe we played the way we have defensively. I can't believe we're really one run away from causing the Buffalo Bills to lose a second game in a row. I enjoyed every minute up until the last play. Every stinking minute of it. But there was a bit of an anxiety. If you'd been there to see this, there were a lot of people who felt embarrassed and couldn't understand what was happening to this Bills team off of that loss against Jacksonville.
Which is what I don't get, because like when I was screaming, we were broadcasting the break room live from London, and I was screaming on Friday that this has trap game written all over it. You have a former offensive coordinator who brought your guaranteed bust quarterback along with the star that he is. By the way, the offensive coordinator the Bills have now, he learned how to be an offensive coordinator and still runs a playbook from Brian Daboll. The quarterback that you're facing was the guy who broke your 17-year playoff drought. He was benched for a guy that threw 5 interceptions at halftime. He pushes through that. His reward is being traded immediately so the guy who threw the 5 interceptions can start opening day the next year for 17 minutes. And there were nine former Buffalo Bills in that front office or that roster on the field. That last play, 3 former Bills who they told, we don't need you anymore. It could have been a revenge game 3 different ways on that last play. Not great. You're still dealing with jet lag and everything like that. The Bills will be just fine moving forward.
I had no idea both coaches hated each other. Did
Yeah,
you know that?
there was rumors.
I did not know, but you could clearly see they wanted to win that game, which made the last play even better.
I'm just not in the mood to even talk.
He said, and I quote, "I don't want to talk about it."
So we're going to see if there's any carryover as the Bills prepare to play at New England this week. Greg Connors is going to join us here in the Rochester Press Box next. Just passing through, life lessons from notable Rochesterians, people you may think you know. Don Alhart and Maggie Brooks, John Dady and Stacy Pension, J. Mack and Soccer Sam, Fred Costello and Jake Zembeck, along with 21 more. How they all got from there to here. It's a new book by Bill Pucko, available for $12 postpaid only from rocksportsnow.com. Try it and thank you.
Our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Connors of Ferris, your trusted and dedicated workers' comp attorneys and proud sponsor of Buffalo Bills training camp.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Our Buffalo Bills prediction segment is brought to you by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. And Greg Connors joins us. Greg, congratulations on your lead in the picking against the points. 8-4 is going to make you some money in Vegas. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, it's been lucky. It's as Duffy said, it's the beginner's luck part of it, I think. We're getting to the meat of the schedule here now, so this is where things start to get tough.
Was that a little fake modesty?
Well, no, it was, because he's 100% right. Like, now that we're getting into the meat of it, I pull ahead and I embarrass everybody else, and this is how it goes every single season. So I'm looking forward to the next
Well, I'm
weeks.
7-5 and don't feel particularly embarrassed.
Every single season, we've never done this before.
We do this all the time, Tariq. All the time.
Hey, Greg, the line's 9.5 going to New England. How do you see it?
Oh, I've got a hangover. I've got a Ken Dorsey hangover. I don't know if the Bills can score more than 20 points. And I definitely think that the Patriots with Belichick, they got to do something this week. The Patriots are going to stir things up. The Bills are going to win the game, but I don't think with Josh's shoulder and the way things are going with that offense, I don't think they're going to beat him by 9.5.
Do you see how angry the Marv Levy bobblehead is at him as he made that pick? If you go back to that shot, you can see. Look at that face. Look at that face. He's furious with
He's
him.
moving.
Yeah, it's going back and forth. It's a noble head.
Hey, I was on the Patriots a couple of weeks ago when they were hosting New Orleans for the same reasons you're giving them now. So, look, they've got to do something. And they did nothing. They got beat by 34 points in that game.
I hope the Bills can score 34 points after the last 2 weeks. I think the Bills' defense is playing well. I just think they're banged up. I think they've lost their legs right now. This week, I think they're going to win. I just don't think they can cover 9.5 right now.
That is a big one. I mean, listen to me. Without Milano, obviously this defense totally had to change. You should have been able to shut down the Giants' offense.
They didn't score a touchdown.
They should
From
have.
the one twice.
And great, and you missed 2 field goals. When the hell does that
From the
happen?
50s?
He makes those. It wasn't even terrible weather. You mean to say you're not concerned about your offense?
Not at all. And you go ahead, you do you, and I will explain to you why you're
goodness.
wrong. I will explain to you why
I would
you're
love
going
to
to say.
explain. First of all those that hate Stephon Diggs, by the way, he was working on Sunday night.
Love
I
Stephon
know
We
you.
have a lot of moving parts here.
But my point would be this. Listen, I know the Patriots defense is their big thing right now. They can't score any points at all.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a low-scoring game, you're definitely concerned that would be 3 games in a row.
Get out of
I
my
would go
face.
with Craig Connors. They've got to score at least 30 points in this game.
This is great. I just gained 2
So who you
points.
take? He's taking New
Oh,
England.
I don't think they'll cover, but I think the Bills will win. So I don't think they'll cover by 9.
Very simple. I don't count Jacksonville because of the jet lag. I experienced that personally. Last week, you had a man in Brian Dable who knows everything about your all-star quarterback and your offensive coordinator knows how to stop both of those things. You're back to normal. You're playing one of the worst teams in the NFL. Belichick has suffered back-to-back worst losses in his career. The Bills win by 2 touchdowns. You guys are out of your mind.
2 touchdowns.
I like Baltimore favored by 2.5 against Detroit. I don't trust Detroit. I think Detroit is still young. I don't trust Jared Goff. He's had a good couple of weeks. They're due for a fall.
Goodness, I go with the Giants over Washington. It's always a battle. The Giants are still messed up from last Sunday. I think they get it right against Washington.
I'm on the Bills. I'm not real comfortable with it. I like the Vikings at home on Monday night getting 7 against the 49ers. That'll be fun. Last word is yours, Greg, Mr. 8-4. Who's your other game?
I'm going with the Lions plus 2.5 for the Ravens.
Yes!
I believe in Dan Campbell. I believe in Goff. I think they're going to get it done, and the Bills need the Ravens to lose again. So I'm
See,
going
that
with
team
the
that
Lions.
always is in the focus of everybody's attention the week before has a tough time. Everyone's talking Lions this week.
Head-to-head gambling. You guys feel it? You feel it running through your veins?
All right, Dan Campbell Jr. over here.
Come on.
Greg, thanks very much. Your contributions are appreciated. Our prediction segment brought to you by Connors of Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box Trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road.
Pumpkins and apples. Hello again, Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy, and a little bit of fall family fun. You're going to love this getaway. Just check out the Getaway Guy right now on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Welcome back. Here's the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment is brought to you by Sport Clips, where the MVP experience is better than ever. Sport Clips, it's a game changer. No appointments are needed. Stop by a Rochester location today. Pat, since you were there, like it or not, the idea about holding a Super Bowl in London.
All right, I will say this. Tottenham on the Hotspur Saturday. It was remarkable. It was one of the most beautiful facilities for sports I've ever seen in my life. They did it all top notch. I mean, everything about going to that game on game day was one of the coolest experiences of my life. That being said, the NFL should stop all European games right now, because when I got there, my body was doing things. I've never slept walk in my life. I slept walked, and did other things not great 3 times. 3 times while I was in London. I got home 3 days ago. My body cannot function. And the fact that they asked these guys on just a couple of days' notice to fly to London, play against some of the best athletes in the world, fly home, and then play again a couple of days later, the most arguably dangerous sport in America, is absolutely insane. The only way you could pull this off is if you gave them 3 weeks to adjust. I mean,
so you're willing to dismiss the Jacksonville loss as saying that's just not a winnable game?
100%. Look, I mean, you watched it happen. Jacksonville had been there. Their body clocks had adjusted. Mark my words, when you watch Jacksonville perform for the rest of the season, there is going to be a lag in the way that they did it. I could barely sit and drink a beer. I do not know how they played football.
They're going to have to play at least 6 or 7 more games in London, get used to that time. So the one thing about the Super Bowl idea is, I don't like it. I think it can come. But the Super Bowl idea is, remember, that's 2 weeks before you play that game. You get a week sort of to adjust, get used to it, move over there, play. The games over there are terrible. I don't know.
That's the proof of it.
But then again, Super Bowls have been terrible. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
But this is our event. My thing, with all that notwithstanding, Super Bowl is our event. You don't move it out of the country.
Nah, I mean, we've moved it out of sunny places, put it in New York, put it in different spots.
It's still the country.
Yeah, it's true.
But I mean, he's right. We've had it in there's no such thing as a non-traditional football market anymore. But back in the day, you put it in non-traditional football markets. Jacksonville needed to bring in freaking cruise ships. It was like there have been disasters before. You remember what happened when the Bills played in Minnesota against Washington? The whole city froze over. Happened again a couple of years later in Houston.
We've been flirting with this for a long time. It's going to come, Bill. I don't want it to, but I can see it.
It's complicated. Like it or not, the whole baseball format, I'm going back a week, that produced the 3 100-game winning teams going... Why are you laughing at me? Going 1-9 in the playoffs.
Because when you're hot, you're hot. Listen, as we're recording this right now, Philadelphia is the hottest team in Major League Baseball. I don't think it would have mattered if it was a 3-game series, 5-game series, or 7-game series. They're in that sort of swing as we record this now. That being said, I mean, it does limit how many of these games get a little bit colder depending on where you're playing on the East Coast. You get to the main event, which are these 4 teams basically, before you get to your World Series. It's not dragging on. The NFL, we all know, is about to take over when it comes to the ratings, so you might as well get this all done. I mean, other than moving the season up and cutting games, I kind of like the format. It's, you know what? Give me an ace, give me a guy to get you to possibly a game 4 or game 5.
You're all right with it?
Listen, I'm 100% fine with it. The way that it's written, or the way that it's done, and you said it yourself, you should have better pitching coming in at 5-7-7 than the teams that made it all the way through. I would be okay with cutting 20 games and moving it earlier, but do not change the format. It's like Tariq said, the playoffs are a different monster. Figure out a way to do it, and maybe teams are still adjusting, but I'm telling you, 10 years from now, you're going to be happy they kept it this way.
All right, well, hopefully
he doesn't like anything.
We'll be able to look back.
No Super Bowl in London, don't cut the series down.
No. Everything right now, the way it is, keep it the way it is. Don't
I'm
do
a little
anything.
more concerned about the 10 years, frankly.
Well, no, look, you look great. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
I Like It or Not segment brought to you by Sport Clips. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business, and as always, start us, Pat.
Did you know that Tom Brady has his own radio show? It's terrible. Don't listen to it. But on his show this week, he made comments, and I'll paraphrase because he goes on for a little while, about how flags in the game are taking the toughness out of it, how players aren't able to play actual football anymore. And he makes a quip at the end about it's getting so bad, maybe the NFL will become flag football at some point. Let me say that again. Tom Brady made those comments. A man who had rules changed for him after he blew his knee out. By the way, go back and watch J.P. Lossman take that same hit from Vince Wilfork in New England 2 years earlier. No change. Tom Brady, a man who whined about every time he had a hand put on him. A man who whined about every time a wide receiver of his had a hand put on them. Had the nerve to say, I think the NFL is soft because of the flags they're throwing down. Tom Brady, who played into his mid-40s without question, thanks to the rules that were installed during his career to protect quarterbacks, said that the NFL has become too soft. The only explanation I am taking for those comments is he was trolling people on purpose, trying to get a rise. And how does a man, his new long face or not look back at his career and realize that most of, if not all of the success he had came because of the rule changes, because of him that have turned the game into what it is? The bottom line is this. You can be angry that the game isn't as tough as it used to be anymore. Still looks pretty tough to me. I watched a whole bunch of stuff happen in that Bills-Giants game. But it's better. Go back and watch a game on YouTube from the mid-1980s. It doesn't look the same. Their feet are in sand. It's slow. There's a reason why it's the most popular sport in America and the most popular it's ever been. How can Tom Brady, a year away from his career, sound like such an old man and still look like he's 20 because his face is made of clay?
So I'm watching a little bit of baseball when I can. I just happen to turn it on, and what do you know? Fox has got it on. And of course, what are the Phillies doing? What the Phillies have been doing in Major League Baseball, winning over the crowd. Now, I'm not getting upset as a Mets fan, and I know the Phillies deal with them all the time. Would I rather have Max Scherzer win a World Series championship with the Rangers? No. Does anybody want the Astros? Not really. Can the Diamondbacks come back? I hope so. We're doing good. I will say this about Philadelphia. Bryce Harper has got that team believing and feeling as if they are destined for the World Series championship. So as much as I'd like to hate on them, I believe my hate would help fuel them, but they don't need much fuel. They've got all the excitement in the world. Let's just say must-see TV is in Philadelphia with the Phillies. I think they're going to win it all.
In 1988, Stan Cliburn began his managerial career with the Watertown Pirates of the New York Penn League. I was there. The NYP was entry-level. Teams began their seasons in June. There were 30 under Clyburn's command, and his first act as the manager was to line up his players between home and third base and have them crawl across the infield, hands and knees, picking up stones to help get the Duffy Fairgrounds field into playing shape.
Hey.
And there was Stan, behind the action, arms crossed, proclaiming, "Welcome to professional baseball, boys." A moment in time. Of the 30 big league wannabes in Watertown that afternoon, 26 faded into athletic obscurity. Just 4 players played in the major leagues. Among them, Tim Wakefield. Wakefield was an infielder who couldn't hit. His salvation was a knuckleball, where he won 200 games over 19 seasons for Pittsburgh and Boston. He was a 2-time World Series champion and is in the Red Sox Hall of Fame. I'd like to say that I remember Wakefield. I do know that he was one of the 30 that was crawling across the field that day at the direction of Cliburn, whose own managerial career led him through Rochester on his way to over 1,900 minor league wins. He ranked 17th all time, and he's still at it, managing the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Wakefield is gone. Cancer victim at 57 earlier this month. A legendary Hall of Fame-worthy teammate. A manager beginning an historic career. And me. Together on a chunked-up field in Watertown, New York, 35 years ago. A moment in time. That's our unfinished business. I should explain that I was in Watertown that day. I used to make minor league baseball card sets. We were there getting information, taking the pictures, and stumbled into what was, I thought, kind of a pretty cool moment.
Absolutely.
I tried to throw a knuckleball. Impossible. Sorry. I couldn't do it.
Thanks, guys, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.
I could feel it. Couldn't hit. Couldn't hit worth shit.
Yeah, bro, I can't hit either. Like, I don't know how people, it's the most remarkable thing to me, hitting a baseball.